Is my rig complete? Is there anything else I need to start doing this professionally? Hi, it's Bill. It's Creative License. Thanks again for jumping in on the Dog and Pony Show. One of these days I'll have to do this with a dog and a pony. People seem to like that little phrase of mine. So, your rig, is it complete? Well, that's a pretty good question. Usually it's an easy one to answer when people say, or when people want to get into the business and they go online and they just make a list of the things they need. And then they have a rig, right? They have a couple of speakers, they've got a mixer and a laptop, or a controller and a laptop. They've got a music service or a music library. They've got high-speed internet on their phone, whatever those things that they think they need. Lights, light tubes, moving heads. They have that stuff, right? So do they have what they need? Is their rig complete? Well, take it from a guy who's been doing this for a very long time. I used to think my rig was complete until one time at an event, one of my speakers went down. And then I had one speaker for the rest of the night. Now, it wasn't that tough to notice, right? Thankfully, I had a room full of people that were partying and drinking, and they weren't really paying that close attention, right? They moved their bodies on the dance floor closer to the louder side of the dance floor because I had one speaker. But was I delivering on my promise when I lost one of the tools necessary to continue forward serving my client? I would argue to say no. And I did say no. Because the very next day, I went and took all the money I'd saved, which wasn't a lot, and I bought a second rig. Everything. Right down to the last piece of rig gear. I've got it. I test it. I make sure it works. I go out with it every single time. I don't bring out two speakers anymore. I bring out 4 and 6 speakers every single time. And even if it's just a bar, in one room where you really need only one speaker. Why do I do that? Well, because, here's little things. Like if I have to make an announcement in the room on my sound system and the person the furthest away can't hear me, well, shouldn't have I had another speaker? Either right next to the other one, or at least on a long cord down the room, filling that side so that my job, which is to be heard when I speak, is actually done. I've actually done that, right? Can you say the same thing? Now, I'm okay if you don't want to go here. If you don't want to do the extra work, spend the extra money for backups to your backups to your backups, I'm really okay. I didn't for a very long time. And the expense was less. I didn't have to spend a lot of money. I had my rig. I made money on my rig. And what's the worst that can happen if both my speakers go down? I have to apologize, maybe give a little money back, maybe call a buddy, wait for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Excuse me, I just walked by a car that's real beepy. I could do all that stuff and probably get away with it. In fact, that night, with only one speaker, for the rest of the evening, I got away with it. But should you? Should you, if you want to call yourself a professional, show up with something that might not be adequate, might not be needed? Should you show up and not have everything that's needed to be able to make good on your promises? It's a good question, and I think it's not an unfair thing for your clients to expect, which is you're going to do this for them one time and one time only, especially at a wedding. Can they be expected to expect you to be ready, not only for what's going to happen, but for what might happen? What might happen? Be ready for that. All right. That's what I got for today. Thanks for joining me on Creative License. I'll see you next week.